Howdy folks, how are y'all doing? My name is Reese, and in my last video, when I said that I didn't want to talk about this anymore, I wasn't joking, okay? I was being serious. I was done with this topic, but HeIlena Taylor does not know when to quit. God bless her. She had already done enough damage, and she should have walked away from it. She said she wanted to. Remember in the article by Jason Schreier, she said that she was ready to put the whole thing behind her. And you'll remember in my last video, I said, you know what? Let's let her. Let's all move on. It's only had a positive impact on the game's sales because turns out the old adage is true. Any publicity is good publicity. And no harm, no foul. Let her go and be in the theater if that's what she wants. But she just can't stop. And she's made it so much worse for herself because in her original series of tweets, comparing those to the article on Bloomberg by Jason Schreier, it seemed like, and again, it was a he said, she said sort of thing. You had her word on Twitter versus Jason Schreier with some insiders and some paperwork, and we don't really know if there's anything genuine with that. You could have looked at it either way. You could have said whatever you wanted to. It looks like most people landed on she seems to be kind of manipulating the audience, maybe not being totally truthful. Maybe there's a discussion to be had about voice actors and their pay, but let's, this isn't it. And everyone is ready to move on. But instead, I'm sorry, it was all plausibly deniable. That's the thing. We really didn't know if anything in the article was true about, Jason Schreier, according to his insider information. Allegedly, she was offered way more than $4,000, somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 to 20, and then she asked for a ridiculous six-figure sum, and, we had all this information, but none of it was really substantiated, and she said it was all a bunch of nonsense. But then she came out on Twitter and basically confirmed the article was true, inadvertently making herself out to be a liar, and I don't know why! I don't know why! Maybe there's like 3D chess happening here, and Nintendo or Platinum or Sega, someone involved in this came out and said, if you, in a backhanded kind of way, acknowledge that you lied, we won't hold this to you. We won't sue you. I don't know that's what happened. I'm making that up. But let's go through her tweets, though, because this is insane, okay? All right? Let's just do it. It has come to my attention that some people are calling me a liar and a gold digger. Time out. Stop right there. We go no further. HeIlena Taylor, do you know what a gold digger is? Because I've not heard anyone call you that. I don't think they would. If we're going to stop at literally every sentence, this is going to take a really long time because there are a ton of tweets here. But just right out the gate. Right out the gate. Okay. It has come to my attention that some people are calling me a liar and a gold digger. I feel the need to defend myself and my reputation in the industry. See thread. Time out again. HeIlena Taylor, your reputation is in fire already, okay? You bit the hand that fed you. You lied. You attempted to throw a ton of people's hard work. We talked about it in the last two videos. Developers, artists, musicians, other voice actors. You're saying, forget them. Boycott this game. And to hell with the whole franchise. Don't buy the spinoff either. No one wants to work with you in this industry again, so defending your reputation is kind of a waste of time. But let's see how you decide to defend your reputation. As I posted on part 3 of my video thread, I explained that their first offer was too low. That offer was $10,000 total. Stop. Again, we're going to keep taking times out here, because she did not say that they offered her $10,000. What she said was that their final offer, all up, was $4,000 for the whole game. In fact, let's actually go to her Twitter, and we will find that exact moment.
I got a reply saying that he values greatly my contribution to the game and that the fans really want me to voice it over, and the memory of first meeting me as Bayonetta is a memory I hold dear. So I thought, great, thank God. That was when they offered me $4,000 US.
The way that she phrases all of that, the way that she structures the whole story is intentionally designed to make it sound like she is saying, and that maybe I should throw in like a allegedly in front of this for my own sake. In my own personal opinion, it feels like this was structured intentionally to make it sound like they offered her $4,000 for the entire game, which she's not telling you. And what we now know is that they offered her $4,000 for a cameo because they saw her alleged six-figure request plus residuals and said, no, hired Jennifer Hale, and now she's complaining about it. She's causing a stink behind the scenes, and they're like, hey, you want to come in and do a cameo? 1 hour work, maybe? $4,000? And that's how she decides to portray that interaction in her video, is to say that their final offer was $4,000. Not technically a lie, but not true either. It's a lie by omission, which is still a lie. And to quote one of the greatest ethical teachers of our times, thou shalt not lie. So now we get this whole different story here, where she informs us that, oh, no, that offer, the first offer was $10,000, which was never a number mentioned by her before. But in fact, that wasn't even in the article. That wasn't even in the article. Now that I think about it, the article said 15 to 20, right? Maybe that was after some negotiations, but she's made it clear here that the offer was $10,000. The opening offer before negotiations. Let's continue, okay? Remember, this is a $450 million franchise, not counting merchandise. I then wrote to Japanese Hideki Kamiya. I'm sorry, wrote in Japanese. That one's on me. The concept of there being like two Hideki Kamiyas, the Japanese one and then the international Hideki Kamiya. No. I then wrote in Japanese to Hideki Kamiya asking for what I was. And then the next one says worth. But we're going to pause again because she keeps using this number. We talked about this number in my last video, $450 million franchise, not counting merchandise. Now, I said in my last video that I didn't know how much the franchise was actually worth, but it surely was not that many because it would have to sell, I think we came out to 7.5 million copies at full retail price, and there was no chance that Bayonetta 1 and 2, even across all the systems they launched on, sold 7.5 million copies all at full retail price. It just didn't seem possible. And we've got an article here now from TweakTown. I will link this in the description. I'm not going to go over the whole thing, but they basically came to the same conclusion. And if you scroll down here to the end, according to them, as the VG Starts clearly states on the Bayonetta game sales page, the franchise has shipped a total of 3.09 million units. So assuming all of these games sold for the maximum $59.99 retail price, which they did not, that would mean Bayonetta franchise has only made $185.37 million. Less than half of what she's alleging, and I know for a fact they didn't all sell for full retail, because Bayonetta 1 launched on Steam at like, what, $20? I'm pretty sure I bought it on there for $20. So I can't say that was the launch price, but every time I've ever viewed it on Steam, that's been the listed price. I would argue most PC gamers who bought the game on Steam probably paid about $20. So, HeIlena Taylor, no! This is not a $450 million franchise. Stop saying that. Where they do go over where they think she might have gotten that in this article. Again, linked in the description. Definitely worth the read. But stop saying that. That is not true. It's ridiculous. I'm laughing because it is so obscene and ridiculous at this point what she's going on about. So she writes in Japanese to the Japanese Hideki Kamiya, not to be confused with the international one, asking what she was worth. I thought that as a creative, he would understand. He replied saying how much he valued my contribution to the game and how much the fans wanted me to voice the game. I was then offered an extra... That's not a real number. What? 50... I think it's supposed to be 5,000. I assume that's supposed to be 5,000 because that would bring it in line with the $15,000 we heard about in the Jason Schreier article. So again, lies by omission are still lies, alright?
Hi, I'm in the middle of editing this video and I just realized something else. Her timeline is off. Remember in her original video, she says she wrote to Hideki Kamiya and asked what she was worth, and that's when she received the $4,000 offer. But here, she makes it clear that she wrote to Hideki Kamiya, and that's when they offered her $5,000 on top of the $10,000. And then later on, the 4,000 happens after like 11 months of silence. So she can't even keep her own timeline straight.
It's not the 4,000 all up that she said. And 15,000 is very generous considering what the average voice actor gets paid. I think I said in my last video that I may have misspoken. I might have said per hour. But per session, about a 4-hour session, the average wage for someone, I think it's actually like the guild or minimum in the voice acting guild or the actors guild. It might be what in the union. The minimum is about $1,000, a little bit less than that for about 4 hours of work, right? So about $250 an hour, and she was offered, way more than that, basically. So I declined to voice the game. I then heard nothing from them for 11 months. Well, yeah. That's because you declined to voice the game. So they just... what is she trying to convey here? What is her point? I don't get it. She's like, I said I would not do it. And then they didn't reach out to me. I don't understand. I said, no, I will not voice your game. And then they just moved on. What did they do? Hire someone else? Why would they... I'm Bayonetta. Like, of course, you declined it! You declined to voice the game! What did you think they were gonna do, not make the game? I'm getting a little toasty in here. I'm getting a little, heated up about all this. Just the insanity and nonsense of it all. This is the ultimate version of that thing where there's like one slice of pizza left, and you tell your friend, oh, you have it. And then they're like, oh, no, you take it. And you're like, oh, no, please, I insist. And then they go, okay, and they take the pizza, and then you're shocked. Don't be surprised. You said no. And they moved on. This isn't drama fit for the internet. That's the thing that I want to get across to all of you. This is behind the scenes business dealings. This isn't drama worthy of a boycott. So I declined to voice the game. I then heard nothing from them for 11 months. They then offered me a flat fee to voice some lines for $4,000. So that is the offer that they gave to do like a cameo, which we learned about. I guess this is like after 11 months, she must have come back to raise a stink again. Or possibly they just felt bad and they were like, you know what, maybe we should give, she's not doing anything else, bless her. She's not very busy. Let's get her back in here. Maybe she can do a cameo or something. $4,000, day of work. She goes on to say, any other lies, such as 4,000 for 5 sessions, are total fabrications. Well, doesn't seem that way. It really doesn't seem that way. If you extrapolate 15,000 divided by a certain number of sessions, it feels like that's probably actually more or less right on. But, okay, whatever. I guess she loves to be particular in the way that she delivers truth. So maybe, yes, specifically, never was the offer for exactly 4,000 for exactly 5 sessions true. But I feel like somewhere in there is the truth. Something along those lines, probably. Considering how much of the Jason Schreier article she's come out and basically said were true when she didn't have to. Remember, it was, she said, he said. She could have left it at that, but now she's coming out and she's saying, actually, yeah, all these things from the article were true. I don't know why she's doing this. I don't know why she's making it worse for herself. It's very funny to me, though. I'm enjoying it immensely. There were not extensive negotiations. I've also been informed of ridiculous fiction, such as I asked for $250,000. I don't know where she gets that from. If she's been watching my videos, I never said that. They said 6-figure, and what I like is that she doesn't deny that. She's very careful with the words that she uses. She doesn't deny the 6-figure request was made with residuals. What she specifically says is that $250,000 is a ridiculous fiction. Maybe she asked for $300,000, and that's true, but it wasn't $250,000. Maybe she asked for, I always said $100,000, because that's as small as you can get while still being 6 figures. She doesn't deny that either. She's just like, very specifically, $250,000 is a ridiculous fiction. All right, okay. I am a team player. I was just asking for a fair living wage in line with the value that I bring to the game. That's arbitrary. That's abstract and arbitrary. There's no defining that. It comes down to how often you work. I said this before, and as a voice actor, you might not get a gig every day, every week, every month. So it makes sense that you'd have to make a little bit more when you do work to cover that in-between time. Unless, you are Jennifer Hale, who's been in a ton of stuff, or what is his name? Winnie the Pooh, Jim Cummings. That man seems to be in something every day. He's got to be recording 24/7. So, anyway, I feel like $15,000 is very reasonable. And I love that she says the value I bring to this game. I didn't know that Jennifer Hale wasn't you. I couldn't tell the difference. So I guess emotional attachment to people involved behind the scenes. Maybe some people have that. Maybe some people can't imagine this game without HeIlena Taylor. I don't know. The thing with Bayonetta is, so much of Bayonetta is the gameplay. In fact, the majority of what people love about it is the gameplay. There is a story, there are characters, but they are so secondary to the experience of what is Bayonetta. I don't feel like Bayonetta's voice, crucial as it is to storytelling, that's just not the thing that I feel like people are checking into. I'm not. I mean, the story looks interesting. I can't wait to see where they go with it. But I'm mostly playing it because it's fun. It's a fun game to play. I can't speak for everyone on that. But we're moving on. We're getting through these. We're close. Okay, if I click on this one now, it takes me out of the thread, but whatever. I was paid a shockingly low total of £3,000 total for the first game. A little more for a second. I wanted to voice her. I have drummed up interest in this game ever since I started on Twitter in 2011. Yes, that's right. The game is only ever going to be successful because of the interest that she drummed up in it. As I feel like what's being alleged here, I don't know. Keep in mind that when Bayonetta came out, it was nothing. Like, let alone, definitely not a $450 million franchise, but it was nothing, and it wasn't that successful. The first Bayonetta game was not a good selling game. The only reason the sequel got made is because Nintendo said, you know what? Wii U isn't selling well. Let's get some boobies on it. We got to do something. We're a little bit desperate here. You there! Bring the witch! So complaining about how little she made on the first game is kind of silly. You can say that you deserved more for the second. You can say you deserved more for the third. Again, I have always respected that HeIlena Taylor believes she's worth more, and she refuses to work for less. I respect and appreciate that. But just because you hold yourself to that level of value does not mean that literally anyone else will. And it seems like Platinum certainly didn't. I could not talk about the game because of NDAs, but I happily answered fans' letters, emails, signed posters, recorded voice messages for weddings and birthdays. I kept up interest in the game during a long periods of radio silence from Platinum. You didn't have to do that. I mean, it's very nice that you did that, but if you're looking for back pay, those were decisions you made. The only time I was ever at a game conference, I felt weird asking fans for money for a signature, as they had already paid for the game, and I was grateful that they liked my work for the character, so I donated 100% of signing fees to charity. You're such a wonderful person, HeIlena Taylor. You're such just a gem. You're just like the starving NHS workers at Lazarus with whom you like to compare yourself to. You're a lovely person. What does this have to do with the business dealings you had? Oh, that's weird. This one appears to exist twice for some reason. Okay. I think this is the next one in the chain. They're very hard to follow. I will post the 14 charities so that you can donate to charity instead of buying this game from corrupt, greedy people. There are people who are attempting to throw shade and discredit what I say. The industry is powerful. They have powerful journalists. Jason Schreier! You dog! You all-powerful demigod being! Are you attacking HeIlena Taylor with your insider sources and truth and reality? How dare you, sir! I hope HeIlena Taylor watches this and thinks that I too... I hope she watches it and thinks that I too am part of an industry journalist. Also, throw shade and discredit what you say. You just discredit yourself in this entire thread. What is wrong with you? They are trying to save their asset. Don't fall for it. Hashtag everything you could possibly vomit up in a hashtag. My gosh. Okay. Let's get rid of that because, quite honestly, tired of looking at it. You can see this section of wall now here. That's unfortunate. You can also see these sections. Need to fix that. I had the greatest sympathies for HeIlena Taylor in the first video. I really did. Because I respected the fact that she thought she was worth more. I thought that the boycott attempt was pathetic. I used those words. Someone was offended by it. I stand by it. Based on what she was accusing, maybe it's because I came into it expecting worse. You know, when someone who's worked in a video game franchise comes out and says, you need to boycott it for this reason. I was expecting far worse things than they didn't want to pay me enough. That's not a boycottable offense, in my opinion. That's just business dealings. They happen behind the scenes, and you really aren't supposed to bring them up to the front. I mean, unless they were trying to like blackmail you into doing the game for free somehow. That's one thing. But if they offered you over union minimum and you turned them down, that's not a boycottable affair, in my opinion. You can disagree. Second time around, last video, had a little bit less sympathy, because I figured that Jason Schreier would not write an article about this and allege to have sources unless he had and vetted those sources. And I felt like HeIlena Taylor's maybe being a little bit manipulative and maybe not saying everything she should, or maybe she just misled people on things. Going through this thread now, third video, I am not talking about this again. I have no sympathy left for her, all right? And this is not to throw hate her way. Please don't contact her. Please don't annoy her, all right? We don't do that here. We don't directly interact with people. I enjoyed reading some of the tweets from replies that people have left her. A lot of them were funny. But there's no reason to be mean to this person. There's no reason to attack them. They're doing a great job themselves, destroying their career. We don't need to engage with or interfere or interact at all. I just don't feel sorry for HeIlena Taylor anymore. And seeing the kind of vindictive person she seems to be, I'm kind of glad she's not in the franchise anymore. I wish Jennifer Hale all the best. I'm done. I'm done with this. I'm not talking about this anymore. Unless HeIlena Taylor goes out and says some other ridiculous thing, or Jason Schreier comes out with some sort of other allegation, I am finite incantatum. No. Is that a Harry Potter spell? It might be. I'm going to go now. I'm going to go play Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. Thank you folks for watching. God bless you, and I'll see you later. Goodbye.